meet. Okay, here we go. Good evening. I'd like to call to order this April 6, 2022 meeting of the Clearwater Downtown Development Board. We would ask everyone first to silence your phones, cease private conversations. Let me check my own phone before I give you advice. I'd like to remind the members to lean forward and to speak clearly so the microphone can pick up your conversation. And we'll begin by having our members and ex officio members introduce themselves, beginning on my left.
Ray Casano.
Shahab Emrani.
Keenan Kinsel.
Paris Morphopoulos.
Festus Paulbeni.
Terry Nowitzki.
Caitlin Jammo.
Frank Hibbard.
Mark Bunker.
Very good.
They won't let Mr. Casano up with the rest of the group?
No, I don't.
Are you in
I
timeout?
got seniority. I get the good seat.
Oh, okay.
I get to bug Amanda.
He refuses to be a member of any group that would admit him. So, yes, standards. Okay, so first we'll begin by reviewing the minutes of the March 2nd, 2022 meeting. I'd like to see, does anyone wish to request any corrections? All right. I'd like to have a motion to adopt the minutes of the March 2, 2022 meeting.
Motion to adopt the minutes of the 2022 meeting.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, so Terry makes the motion, Ray seconds it. Is there any discussion on this item? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Okay, we're on item number 3, citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda. The rules are that comments are limited to matters relevant to the DDB district. Comments on items on the agenda will be held until the agenda item is called. Speakers must identify themselves clearly for the record, and a time limit of 3 minutes will be enforced. Are there any citizens that would like to address us? Please come up and introduce yourself. Welcome.
Hi, how you guys doing? I'm Tony from the Nash Keys. I've been up here a couple times. I just want to say, I participated in a little block party that the town had locally. It was for, I met them at one of Lena's get-togethers. It was just a small community of mixed diversity, everything. They did a fantastic job bringing the town community. I saw a diverse thing. I participated. It was, quite frankly, amazing little event that was held together by just local people trying to get together. I wanted to acknowledge that. I don't really remember where it was, but it was a bike ride away, and I was part of Lena's group or something. It was really quite amazing and just a diverse thing. On that topic, I just wanted to say that I know I'm part of Nash Keys, and we're looking to bring the rich history of the downtown music back to it. That's really what we are focused on as our community, our Nash Keys, trying to push that agenda. With that being said, I would love to see more involvement of except for one, more people involved in bringing music to the downtown. It really revitalized the rich jazz, blues history, and amazing music history that we have here and in St. Pete's. That being said, my friend also has rich history in music. He said, why don't we start focusing on trying to throw events here, since I see so many people throwing events. We just wanted to make ourselves known and say that we would love to participate in really building this community more from a grassroots thing, because I really see people here are really involved. Just the average Joe really wants to see this place do well, and it's refreshing and amazing. So that being said, I would love to introduce Starry Night. It's gentleman Xavier there. He's looking to help out and just bring that rich diversity and culture back to Clearwater and the music entertainment.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we encourage participation from the local citizens, and your proposals, if you need assistance, we're often glad to help out to get something going. Are there any other citizens that would like to address us? Okay, we'll move on. Item 4.1, the February 2020.
Sorry, Paris, we do have some.
Oh, we do? Oh, we do have someone. Okay, sorry about that.
Members of the DDB board. My name is Ellen Erlida, and I'm a member. I am the president of the East Gateway Business and Neighbors Association. We just started up again, and I've come here to introduce you to two of my friends. One is an old friend and one is a new friend. Sheila?
Yes, I'm the old one. Good evening, Mayor. Anyway, I have a story to tell you of a gateway part of town that was growing by leaps and bounds. But some of those changes were causing quite a few pains. People were bobbing and weaving with new signs and goodness knows, new car lanes. And along with it, lots of dust. And most importantly, cash flow drains. So they called in a new friend to help them tell the story of good food, great shopping, while they bring the gateway, part of the DDB, back to its glory. He's a great guy who will be doing his own bobbing into restaurants, shops, and stores, literally showcasing the best of what the gateway has in store. So without further ado, we are pleased to introduce Bob Barulo.
The new mascot for the gateway.
There he is.
Seriously, the construction folks at the Gateway gave us 2 barrels, and we had a new business, a tattoo artist that's in the DDB footprint that decorated it, and he's got photos of his son and his wife helping him. And most of the restaurants will be launching their own construction campaigns with specials. We're going to put wheels on him and offer a catering service so that they could bring their food to people's offices. And we're looking at doing some special events throughout, bringing in the culture and the diversity of the Gateway here. Additionally, during Sip and Strolls, we are inviting all of the Gateway restaurants to participate in our Sip and Strolls. We've got volunteers that are serving their food because we don't want to take them out of a busy time on a Saturday night. So we've got 4 or 5 restaurants that are joining us with volunteers. So we're promoting their business while they're sipping and strolling in the district. And the small business owners there know there's good things to come. But they know it's going to be a little bit of a stretch for 2 years. So we're trying to add a little humor and kind of get some momentum going. As a result, do you want to share a couple things? We had a wonderful blog. We've basically taken Bob everywhere and we're taking pictures of him. He's eating dinner. He's going to Cinco de Mayo. He will probably start dating a woman by the name of Barbara. And she will be getting her nails done and hair done in the district, so or in the Gateway. So.
Can I make a suggestion?
Huh?
Have a name tag.
Oh, that's true. We'll have a name tag. That's good because people might not know who he was.
I mean, I remember Bob's name. It's
Yeah.
common.
So anyway, thank you very much.
Great.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I'm glad to see that something is being done by you and Eleanor in the Gateway. It's going to be very nice when it's done, but it's a difficult time for the merchants in the meantime. So. Okay, are there any other citizens to be heard? Very good. So we'll move on to item 4.1. And Matt, if you could take this one. It's the February 2022 financial statement.
Good evening, Board. Before I begin, I was addressing a technical difficulty. I think I left my cell phone up on the dais.
Yes, here it is.
I would be very embarrassed if that.
This is the promotion.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, Eleanor. Nice to see you. Thank you.
This is a new promotion we're starting.
Oh, can't say no to 100
I'm
grand.
trying to move along faster here.
Thanks.
This is the promotion we're starting.
Hello and thank you.
I'm good, how are you? This is new promotion we're starting.
Thank you.
Okay, take it away, Matt.
Fantastic. Good evening, Board. Matt Jackson, CRA Assistant Director. The item before you is to request approval of the February 2022 financial statement for filing. You have these specific numbers outlined. I just wanted to go over that the ending balance as of February is $534,000, $534,120,000. And as of March 14th, the DDB allocated just over $145,000 to the marketing line item. And for the other two line items, the business assistance and policy and project line item, no monies have been allocated for those funds. At this time, I'd like to answer any questions.
I was trying to review these numbers over the weekend, and I was having a real hard time reading them. I mean, I have to take my glasses off to see the numbers. Is there something we can do so that these are more easily readable for us? Because they're almost impossible to see the numbers
Specifically the format.
at my advanced age, you know.
So physically on your computer screen, it's just tough to view them?
On the computer screen, I have a very hard time, and I print it out, and it's still really hard.
Printed, absolutely, I understand that. You may want to try if you hold down the control button and then your mouse, use the jog wheel to scroll up and down. It will minimize and maximize the screen, so it's easier to read. However, for the printed material, I can look into that.
If I may add, I think it will, you can expand one column, but if you want to see 2 or 3
Right.
or more, or the entire, then you might have. I think this is running at 6 points or 8 points, but to fit the whole thing in there.
I can look into that as far as the printed material.
Yeah.
We're going to buy you a magnifying glass.
I don't know if it's in the budget, maybe next year.
Some readers,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, I did have one question that I just thought it might be good as a reminder. There's let me see if I can find it. The business assistance grants in the amount of, there's 200,000 allocated for that. I wonder, for the benefit of anyone watching or for ourselves as a reminder, can you tell us a bit about the business assistance grants, what they're for and how they function?
Sure, so I'll take that.
Trying to encourage
So-
somebody to actually apply for one.
So the funding request form is the same that's on the Downtown Clearwater website for all grants, just so people know that. It's the same form, you're not looking for a different funding form. But it's meant to really be broad for what would assist your business. Signage, maybe it is built out improvements, maybe it's specific marketing support for your particular business. So when we were working with the board last year on this, we wanted to leave it intentionally open. We've only had 2 signage requests so far. We had the simulation business where you can get in and drive the Ferrari or the plane, all the things. And then the fitness company that went into the bottom of Water's Edge.
And is it a match or is it what are the rules on this?
We don't have any other right now. It's a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
In the other ones, you did look for some matching funding.
Okay, so if there's anyone out there that wants to do some improvement of their business in the downtown, be aware that we do have funds available, and we would encourage applications.
And just as a reminder, we can amend your budget at any monthly meeting. And as we're talking about the work plan items later in those recommendations, we might come back to you and say, let's move some money from the business assistance line item for these other projects.
Good.
Right. Very good. Are there any other questions from the board? Okay, any citizen comments on this item? All right, I'd like to request a motion to adopt the February 2022 financial statement for filing. Shahab?
I would like to propose a motion to adopt the February 2022 financial statement for filing.
Okay, and Ray seconds. Very good. Is there any board discussion on this item? Okay, all in favor?
Simple.
Aye, it's unanimous. Okay, we're at item 4.2, the 2021 audit presentation from Cars, Riggs, Ingram, CRI. And welcome to Monica. Oh,
Thank you, just read it. You have copies of it. You have printed copies of the presentation?
Yes.
Do you want me to pull it up?
No, that's okay. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is John Bromeyer. I'm a partner with Car Riggs and Ingram. I'm here to discuss the results of the September 30th, 2021 financial statement audit. You should have received a printed copy of the presentation that I'll go over today. Ultimately, clean results. I'd like to thank Monica for her excellent record keeping. We have the benefit of doing the DDB audit as well as the city audit, so we spend a lot of time with Monica and Jay in the finance department. She has been wonderful to work with, and she keeps really clean books. So you'll see that in the results that we have to go over. The first slide is the audit reports that we issue for your financial statements. There's actually 4 reports. The first one being the independent auditor's report. That we issued an unmodified opinion. That's the highest level of assurance. It's a clean opinion, no issues to note. The next one is the governmental accounting standards report. That says that we conducted our audit in accordance with government standards. Again, clean report. If there were any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, they would be noted there. We have none.
Very good.
The third one is the management letter. That one is prescribed by the Auditor General of the state of Florida. No comments to note in there as well, clean. And then the local investment policy report, that says that you follow Florida statute 218.415 over investments. Again, you're in compliance with that statute. Audit adjustments, no audit adjustments, no audit findings, no internal control deficiencies or non-compliance. The significant accounting policies, so I'm on now slide 3. In your financial statements, the first footnote is the significant accounting policies. There's been no changes to those in between years. Significant difficulties noted during our audit, there were none. We absolutely had no disagreements with management. We noted no other findings, no uncorrected or corrected misstatements, and no issues discussed with management prior to our retention. That's it. Any questions for me?
Sounds like it's pretty clean. Sounds like Monica deserves a commend.
She sure does.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to item 4.3.
Elise.
Oh, go ahead. Elise?
I would just like to remind the speakers that come up here that they have to be heard not just by you, but the people behind them. So please use your outside voices, okay?
And we've asked public comms to adjust the mics.
Yeah.
So,
But even with that, people behind you have trouble hearing when you're facing away from them.
Is it not amplified, what they're saying?
I can hear it, but Elise and Sandy are saying they can't. I don't know.
How is it back there? It's okay back there? Okay.
Maybe you guys are in a dead zone.
Do we need to punish him and bring him back?
Clean audit.
It was a clean audit.
Yes, ma'am, we will all.
No punishment necessary. Let's move on. Item 4.3. Eric, can you take this one? And this is the Market Marie update and funding request.
Hello, I'm Eric Santiago, CRA Public Relations and Programs Manager. We have a funding request. The purpose of this item is to provide an update on the current 6-month funding agreement for the Market Marie, which expires April 2022, and request approval of the Market Marie's funding of $16,029 to operate 6 new outdoor markets from May 2022 through October 2022. The Market Marie first started back in May 2021. In September of 2022, the Market Marie was approved for funding for 6 monthly markets. Funding was used to support operational expenses, which covered city permits, professional security, music, sanitation, staff, marketing, and cleaning. The outdoor market has taken place at the northwest corner of Court and Myrtle from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the second Saturday of each month. The Market Marie aims to bring local businesses and visitors to the city to see unique merchandise, specialty items, and support local businesses. Featuring over 75 local vendors, the Market Marie is attracting approximately 500 visitors each month to downtown Clearwater. Today's funding request will continue to support expenses of the Market Marie to manage 6 additional markets. Staff recommends funding for this special event series. A printed copy of the 6-month summary has been distributed to you at your where you're sitting. This request does align with the DDB's work plan. And I would like to introduce Blair Valentine from the Market Marie to answer any additional questions.
I am Blair Valentine, like he said.
Could you speak louder?
Yeah.
For her.
Sorry. I am Blair Valentine, the founder of the Market Marie. I wanted to thank you for having me back here. Like many of you know, our market takes place every second Saturday at 710 Court Street in Clearwater, and it has been a very successful event thanks to you guys and the many vendors that are part of our event. It's brought a lot of diversity to downtown and a lot of success to many small businesses during this time. Our last 6 months, like Eric was saying, have averaged around 500 patrons and 75 vendors at this event. And over the course of the last year since we started, we've had over 430 unique businesses set up shop at our event. We've had a lot of positive feedback from the community and the vendors, and we look forward to continuing this event every month. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
I have a question. If there's 75 vendors and you've had 400, that's quite a bit of turnover, a lot of new vendors, but they don't seem to come back, or what?
Well, over the course of the year, we've had the last year, we've had probably 960 vendors, so about 40% would be coming back, but we also do that on purpose too, because if the community is coming back to the market every month, it could get boring to have the same shops there every month. So we do keep 60% there that are regulars that we want to have at every event, and yeah, so.
Okay, so it's kind of by design that you're...
Yes.
Okay.
How do you determine which ones to come back, which ones not?
Usually based on category, so we try to pick a certain amount per category. If there, for instance, we have a vendor who sells guacamole, we like to have them at every single event, whereas vendors that might hand make items like jewelry or clothing. Sorry, I'm getting probably from my phone. Jewelry and clothing, we like to switch those out to give everyone a chance to sell their goods there. But like our Philly Buster food truck has been at most of our events. We try to keep him there. We like working with him, and yeah, so it's based on category really.
Okay. How are the vendors doing financially? Are they doing all right? Are they successful?
Yeah, for the majority, they love coming there, and it's a good outcome based on the fee. That's a $50 fee for their 10 by 10 space, and what they make. They've had good feedback. So it varies based on the month and the season as well. Sometimes summer months are a lot busier, but.
Okay. Go ahead, Tina.
I love guacamole, so keep that in, please.
Okay, he'll be there Saturday. So.
Are the numbers you see of the attendees, is it growing?
It's been pretty average, but for these next 6 months, I want to really focus on growing it. So now I can come back to you guys and say we average 1,000 people at each event. That would be the ideal goal. So it hasn't gotten lower, but we want it to get a lot higher for the downtown area. So.
I don't recall I reviewed your numbers, but I don't recall what your marketing budget was and how do you market? How do you make people aware that?
Yeah, so the main forum we market through is UNation. That's just someone I used personally before I started events. So we use between 500 to 700 each month just through them, through forums like Patch and Newsbreak, and also a large marketing budget just for Facebook and Instagram. When we make a post tagging, the location and the different vendors, will pay to promote those so they, come on people's feed that may not follow us or be aware that there's a market in downtown.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah, I see your budgets are $600 social media management, so it's not spent on social media, it's just managing it.
Are you looking at like the Excel or the spreadsheet that we gave? I think I don't have it in front of me, that's why. Oh, thank you. Very kind of you. I should have printed that off for myself. So the management would be someone that's in charge of creating graphics for us, looking at all of our analytics to see when's the best time to post. But below that, for like where it says marketing news, that would be where we're contacting UNation, Newsbreak, Patch, paying for social media. So it's to free space.
About $1,100.
What'd you say?
About 1,100. It's 150 for Facebook and Instagram,
Oh, and then altogether, yes.
and news is 975.
Right.
It's about 1,100.
Right.
That's all. Okay. I suggest spend more, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do as well these next 6 months is to try to get more people down there. So I probably will be spending more than that amount, but this is just based on the last 6 months that we did, so.
Okay.
Any other board questions? Okay, any citizen comments? All right. Okay, thank you. We'll take it from
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to request the motion regarding the Market Marie funding request.
I move to approve the request for Market Marie
Okay,
for the $16,029.
very good. And do we have a second? Ray Casano, so Keenan and Ray second. Okay, is there any board discussion on this item? Okay, we're going.
Yes, I honestly, for any endeavor to succeed, they should do a lot of marketing. And since we do have the funding, I keep recommending this, people come to, there's a formula, it's a simple formula, 40% should go into marketing so that we can bring people in and it creates, I don't know how we could, maybe in our future discussions is that anyone come asking funding, it's not for them to have a healthy part of that, what they're asking to be on marketing is to bring people in, because we want people in downtown.
Good point.
I mean, we can have more of that conversation later as we'll be talking about your ideas and the marketing grants. What I would say, since this is a longer term program, certainly we could work out some more details around that. And then if we want to invite Market Marie back for additional funding, or you want to do something like that, we have some time.
Sounds good.
to do that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Any additional discussion? I'm going to call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. Okay. Okay, Eric, if you could take the item 4.4, the Chiang Mai grant request.
Hi, Eric Santiago, PR and Programs Manager. We have an additional request. The purpose of this item is to request the approval of funding for Chiang Mai, the Tie That Binds grant, for the amount of $1,700. Chiang Mai Thai and Sushi Bar is one of downtown Clearwater's oldest operating restaurants. On April 15th and 16th, Chiang Mai will host the Tie That Binds event to coincide with the Thai New Year's celebration. This event will welcome visitors and families to experience Thai culture and cuisine, featuring a flower festival, cooking demonstrations, lion dancers, and a Thai DJ. The flower festival will be a two-part event, one that will ask visitors to take pictures and post on their social media outside of Chiang Mai. The other one will invite residents to post pictures of their gardens. On Saturday, there will be a Thai cooking demonstration outside of the restaurant. Lion dancers will perform down the 400 block of Cleveland Street, as well as there will be a DJ, a Thai music DJ on the 400 block. All of these activities are free and open to the public and will take place outside of Chiang Mai on the 400 block of Cleveland Street. The event budget submitted totals $4,094.78. Funding for this request will be used to support operation and marketing for this two-day event and is in line with the DDB work plan. I would like to introduce Sony Levan from Chiang Mai.
All right, well,
Hello.
thank you very much for your time this evening. My name is Sony Levan, speaking on behalf of my family. We're the owners and operators of Chiang Mai Thai and Sushi Bar, located just around the corner and a stone's throw away. We're proud to have developed into what's considered one of downtown's longest running successful businesses, having not just survived, but thrived over the last 15 years. Needless to say, the last 2 years were the most challenging. especially for the Asian American community in particular during the height of COVID. But with fantastic patrons, support from fellow business owners and grassroots support, we're happy to report that from our perspective, downtown has bounced back to normal. And to help celebrate this milestone, we respectfully request your approval for funding this public event that we're calling the Ties That Bind. Not my choice, but fully supportive. Okay. We were honored last year for your support in first bringing AAPI culture to downtown, and especially now with the month of May's nationally recognized AAPI Heritage Month just around the corner, and having historically established that great success thanks in large part to this board's partnership previously. We look forward to continue sharing our unique cultures for years to come. So on behalf of the Chiang Mai family, fellow business owners, and the community we serve, we appreciate your time and consideration today.
Very good.
Questions, problems,
Any
concerns?
questions?
I have one.
Sir.
Is this the event where you bring the big dragon?
This is the lion dance. And so what I like in particular about this lion dance performance, while it's our restaurant, our culture, and what Eric indicated is going to be in front of our business, we make it a point, especially for DEI initiatives like this, to, while we have the spotlight, we want to share the stage. And so while it is our own event, our line dancers are specifically directed to make sure they encompass all of the 400 block, not just our business.
Excellent. Any other questions? Just a comment, the best bad tie anywhere. Highly recommended.
Just quickly, Eric had in his write-up a whole description that included something to the effect of my father's the chef. People come from all over the world to learn from him. That's actually my uncle, not my father, because if it was my father, just bring me your receipt, I'll give you a full refund. I've definitely inherited his cooking ability as well, so that's why I'm the man, I'm the head dishwasher, is what I consider.
Thanks. Excellent. Okay, are there any citizen comments? All right. Thank you, Sue.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll take it from here. Now I'm looking for a motion regarding the Chiang Mai funding request.
I move that we give them 1,700.
17 and change, whatever the amount was. It wasn't 1,700 even.
1,700 even.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Nice second.
Very good. And second was Caitlin. Okay, very good. And is there any board discussion on this item? One thing I can say is I think it's a great thing to have this downtown, and both from the cultural aspect and from to see businesses participating in creating events that promote themselves as well as the rest of the neighborhood. And welcome neighbor, we haven't met before, but I'm right next door.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so with that, we'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Okay, thank you. Item 5.1, Party Pirates on the Rocks update.
Hello, Eric Santiago, PR and Programs Manager. I'm going to start to the powers out there in tech support. We do have a video coming up, so if you can make the audio work, that would be very helpful for those who are controlling the room. But I do have an update. On Saturday, January 29th, the Party Pirates on the Rocks organized a block party event, Pirate Invasion of the District, which did receive a grant amount of $10,000 from the DDB. Here to provide a summary and report back on their event is Stacy Myers from Party Pirates on the Rocks.
You didn't wear your pirate costume.
No audio.
Thank you. Well, good evening. I'm Stacy Myers with Party Pirates on the Rocks. Last time I was here was in January asking for a grant. I wanted to thank everybody. I feel that our event was a success. This is the follow-up to the event that, it did start out a little rocky, and there was, however, the Party Pirates on the Rocks is going to be able to have the event. It was rocky, and as a refresher, our normal venue was canceled in December due to the fact that construction in the project was held up. So we came to you, asked you for help, and the City of Clearwater came to our rescue with open doors. Hopefully this will continue to grow and become an iconic event for the downtown Clearwater area. We started asking for a budget of $12,400. The DDB granted upfront in advance a $10,000 grant. Our final expenses were $11,579.21. That left the remainder amount upon approval of $1,579.21. Most of our advertising was on Facebook with a huge success. On January 26th, we did mini blasts and videos. That alone touched over 8,000 people. 2,300 people touched base on our Facebook page after the event with clicks and comments, and there was not one negative review or comment left. During the event, we had a list for volunteers to sign up for the next year, for 2023. That was very successful. We had over 50 people wanting to participate with our group and for next year's event. I had scouts out in the crowd asking people how did they hear about the event, so I could get feedback from that. The response was mostly Facebook and posters. The poster idea came from Sheila Nestler with Catalyst of Tampa Bay. She and her volunteers made a mad dash 2 weeks prior to the week of the event. She did hotels, condos, and plastered the whole area with posters for the event. She did all that in spite of her hip surgery and all her volunteers supporting her, so I can't thank her enough. It made a big difference because we did hear the feedback from the mouths of the people at the event. The establishments along the 400 and 500 blocks benefited in the district. They had standing room only. I was told that some doubled, some tripled revenue for the day. There was not one empty seat inside any of the restaurants, and we also advertised the escape room on our web pages, and they were close to a full sellout for that day, so it was very successful. We raised over $12,000. I wanted a little bit more raised. Normally the flotilla brings in $4,000 in addition to the prizes and the giveaways, but unfortunately the high winds shut that down, and to our rescue came the Jolly Trolley. And they had pickup spots throughout the towns where most of the pirates and captains were, and we brought in approximately 130 pirates by trolley. So that worked out really well. As you can see, I have some pictures posted around here that show some of the highlights of the event. I hope you enjoy that. And all in all, I feel that it was a success, and I hope that you guys welcome me back next year.
Very good. Great.
Any questions?
From anyone?
Is this going to be the same time every year?
Yes. Same time as Gasparilla, so that is the alternative to having to go to Gasparilla.
You mentioned numbers, but they kind of went over my head. Can you tell me again what the attendance was?
The attendance, by counting, it wasn't like a full 1,300 there at one time, but as the hours rotated, I was counting heads throughout and watching people leave and additional people coming in, and I guesstimated about 1,300.
Okay. As well as how many pirates? 100?
Oh, the pirates, I would say there was probably well over 200 pirates that came in either by the trolleys or by car, by bus, that were part of my group. Probably more than that, actually.
So more than 1,500 people altogether?
No, that was including the 1,300,
Oh, okay.
was including the pirate head count. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Okay.
So did I hear you intend to bring Gasparilla, the entire group of them, all to downtown Clearwater?
No, I'm not part of Gasparilla. This is just an alternative event to having to go to Gasparilla.
But can you kidnap the mayor of Tampa and bring
So
him here?
we kidnapped the mayor of the district, which was Scott Socha, and he put on a wonderful performance. I have one of the photos over here in the back where they did actually capture the key, and it could have been you. It could have
was
been.
out of town,
So
maybe.
close. But it was a wonderful time.
Great. Any other questions? You have questions or comments?
Yeah, I wandered around that day. If I remember correctly, that was perhaps the coldest day of the winter.
Very cold.
And I was really surprised at how well attended it was, considering the weather. So my pirate hat off to you.
Well, thank you. I had to keep the captains very interested, and the trolley kind of perked a lot of interest, and actually we had new pirates coming in just because of the trolley, so I think that's something we'll incorporate next year too.
Great. Well, thank you very much. It was a great first effort, and hope to have it outdo it next year.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, Amanda, you had indicated you might want to reverse.
Yes, we would like for the equity committee update to go first, since we have our two presenters here before we dive into the other business, if that's
Excellent.
okay.
Why don't we do that then? Let's welcome them. This is the equity committee update.
Good evening again, board. Eric is going to pull up a presentation, and while he's doing that, I'm just going to read some information he prepared before we get into the presentation.
Great.
Matt Jackson, Director of Santiago. Established in the summer of 2020, the Downtown Development Board's Equity Committee arose out of a need to address equity and systemic racism in our communities in the wake of the death of George Floyd and protests that followed throughout the nation. The DDB seeks to support diversity, equity, and inclusion through its efforts in downtown Clearwater and throughout our community. The committee developed the following goals: create space to discuss equity in Clearwater, tap into existing conversations had by community and local leaders around equity, and inform DDB practices and funding. Sherman Stroman, Diversity and Equity Manager, and Frida Daniels, Senior Diversity and Equity Analyst from the City of Clearwater Office of Diversity and Equity Services, will present on equity versus equality and how these principles can best be used to influence organizational planning. The presentation will include time for questions and allow for reflection on what steps the DDB could take next. I'd like to welcome Frida and Sherman.
Thank you, DDB members, for having us. This presentation we wanted to bring forth, a lot of times when we're talking about D&I work, we get into the concepts of equality and equity. And sometimes, those two terms are used interchangeably, but we want to use this presentation to illustrate the differences between these two terms. Okay. All right, so just to start off with a quick defining of equity, the quality of being fair and impartial. Social equity is impartiality, fairness and justice for all people in social policies. Social equity takes into account systemic inequities to ensure everyone in a community has access to the same opportunities and outcomes. What is equality? Equality is the state of being equal, the quality or state of having the same rights and social status, etc. So, by definition, you guys can see that there are some subtle differences between these two terms.
And so when we talk about what's the difference between the two, so when you talk about equity, equity is really meeting people where they are. So not everyone has that same level, right? So there's some opportunities that are available to some, while there's some opportunities that may not be available to others. So it's being cognizant of that and mindful that just because I've experienced something or had certain opportunities, that may not be the same for other people, especially when we're looking at different communities. So it's really about finding those areas of gaps and differences and seeing how can we pull each other up where we're on that same platform.
And it's, around the room is just a kind of a brief illustration of kind of what we kind of were saying is definitely equality means across the board it's the same, opportunities and same requirements, but equity goes a step further and addresses that everybody is not equal in once, like Frida mentioned, in their socioeconomics or their backgrounds, and being having equity allows you to understand those and meet those individuals on their level to help them be able to get on an equal platform. So that illustration kind of illustrates a little bit of what we were just covering.
So then when you're talking about the needs of neighborhoods and communities and businesses, so if you're giving out the same thing, thinking that you're helping someone, as you could see in the picture, as equality, equality is given out equal, that may not be helpful to everyone, right? Just like the girl who can't really see, even though we gave her the same thing that the tall person has, she's still not able to really quite see the game as someone else. And especially then with the person on the wheelchair, they're completely left out, even though we did give something, but it's not what was needed for them to have the ability to do the things that they needed to do. So with equity, like I said, it's meeting people where they are and filling that specific need. And so just like in the picture, the tall men, actually, they're pretty good. They don't really need any additional assistance because they're thriving. They're able to see everything that they need to see, but then we know we need to give a little more help to the girl that she could see a little bit more. And of course, we need to help the person in the wheelchair a completely different way than the girl how she needed help. And so it's really just recognizing those differences of what people needs are and really understanding those needs so we could meet that specific need, because what may work well for one group may not necessarily work well for another group. And so it's finding those areas and helping in a way that brings about equity.
All right, so some questions to ask regarding equity is, one, what is currently being done to ensure that people of all racial backgrounds have equal chances? Two, is there diversity amongst your company's leadership? Three, what are some tangible efforts that have been made to support minority businesses? Three, what accountability systems are currently in place within the organization? Four, how do you foster an open, communicative environment for your organization? And last, what tangible goals does the organization have surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion? And who is responsible for making sure these goals are met?
And so to give some answers to some of that questions is make sure that when you're making decisions that bias isn't being used. I know that's a word that some people are afraid of, but we all have bias. Whether we prefer McDonald's over Burger King is a bias. And so it's when we use those biases, unfortunately, bias eventually can turn into stereotyping people, and then stereotypes then turn into discrimination. And so it's checking those biases at the door and making sure that you're looking through a fresh lens when you're addressing these type of issues. And then, of course, make sure that you're communicating. Communication is key in these situations because what someone may have an idea of something may be completely different of what you're thinking, even though you're having this dialogue with one another. So making sure you have that clear, open communication is important. And as well as understanding the needs of all the demographics to serve the community better. So when you're looking at serving, what you want to know, who are you serving? Who makes up our community? And then once you know who makes up the community, what are those needs of those communities? Because their needs are not going to be the same. They're definitely going to be different. And so when we do different projects and different things, we can't blanket them, right? We have a tendency to sometimes do that. We'll blanket something, and then if it's not successful, we wonder why. And it's just because not everyone has the same needs. And so we have to be mindful to meet people where they are to make sure that we're not just doing equality work, but equitable work.
So that'll kind of bring the conclusion to our presentation, and if you guys have any questions, we're more than happy to illuminate some answers if we can.
I'm curious. Thank you for the presentation. I hadn't seen that distinction before between equity and equality, and it's a useful distinction. Are you both employees of the city of Clearwater?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. What do you do besides this? You go out and see other businesses, or what?
So we are responsible for training throughout the city. We also handle all the discrimination and harassment complaints that come throughout. And so education education, of course, is always a big piece for us, so we're glad to be able to come out and do it when we're at.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, well, I feel better informed. Are there any questions? or
Yes, I think you should come every time we meet and remind.
Well, thank you.
Whenever you guys have us back, we'll be more than happy
Yes.
to come.
I would really appreciate it. I mean, it just drives it home.
Yeah.
It's very simple, and it brings out that one needs to put aside pre-notions before you arrive with someone. And thanks for reminding us. It's wonderful. Please continue.
Do you do these briefings anywhere else? Because I felt it was very helpful for me to understand it better. Do you do them anywhere else?
Well, we do other type trainings in different departments. They vary by the need of the individual department.
So whatever's going on, whatever the need is,
So that's what
we
I think she's
try to.
asking if you would do it for someone outside of the city.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Max.
I have a final
Yes,
question.
that's good.
And, we had, at Caitlin's request, an initiative, we had set aside some funds to use to further equity work or to begin equity work. And we haven't really come up with any brilliant ideas on how to accomplish that. So I would leave you with that thought that we do have some funds set aside for that. And if you come up with an opportunity that requires some funds, please come back to us and let us know what that is, and we would be happy to support it.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, we are in the midst of planning some events now for both our employees and as well as venturing out within the community as well.
As long as it fits within the district and within our, legal requirements, we would be happy to contribute to it.
Yeah. And how do we contact you?
Through us.
Through you? Okay.
Great. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Great. Okay, and that brings us to 5.2. And Amanda and Eric.
Okay, so in our journey together on ideas to improve downtown, we have gone through all of the ideas and provided some feedback on them, done research about what is not legally feasible or is being completed by other people. Then today we'll cover what's in progress and 2 recommendations we have to move forward. So the recommendation letters have been drafted in Paris. They will be in your inbox tomorrow to look at. So we'll get those sent to City Council and to the engineering department. And then in terms of enhancements to downtown, you might have noticed the new plantings. So we have this landscaping for the next 3 months, and then we're issuing an RFP right now to take care of the next year. So there will be rotating plantings every 4 months. And then Eric's going to go further into other enhancements that are coming for the streetscape. And then the wayfinding signs have started to be installed too.
Wow. Cool.
Which there's some photos of them up there, which there can always be more parking signage. So I'm not saying that's solving the problem at all, but that is a step there.
Eric Santiago, CRA, PR and Programs Manager. So continuing, Amanda highlighted the things that we've done, and we have a lot of things in progress and that are on the horizon. So these are things that we were already working on, but very much echoed your goals and what you wanted us to do. So it's good that we're kind of all moving forward in the same direction. So Cleveland Street closure, the current device, the mechanism that is used to close the street is going to be replaced with some ballards and some planter pots. So that is something that will beautify that portion. And then we're working also to move the barricades that are currently there over to Court and Myrtle to help enhance the markets that are over in that area. So that's something that is happening. We are also, we are collecting proposals right now for a seasonal lighting display, which will be a summer seasonal lighting display for the 400 and 500 blocks of Cleveland Street. This will be hopefully in place May through September, and will be, again, a seasonal display that will then take down at the end of the summer. Street light pole banners, so we have started the design process to replace those. So the current banners will come down, hopefully we'll have some new banners go up with a new design. Our first season of landscaping is in, which is spring. We're issuing an RFP for a full year with summer to go in hopefully in June or July. And then we are working on the website. So the website has a lot of content on it currently right now. Some of it's outdated, some of it's not needed, some of it's not very user-friendly. So we're going to kind of strip down some of the stuff that's not needed on there and refresh the things that are needed. So that process has already started as well. So those are things that we're working on. These are things we'll be working on next. So once the new ballards and planters are in place at the closure of Cleveland Street, we're going to put some signage there. Again, to identify, direct, welcome people down the street. Station Square Park is open, but would be great if people had a place to sit down. So we're going to work on that with tables, chairs, and umbrellas. I mentioned the short-term lighting installation project. We're also going to work on a long-term lighting installation project, something that'll be a lot more grand and something that'll be, we're still working on it, but we have ideas for something that's going to be a bigger display that we can do kind of after the holiday season. And then Bandwagon, who is the marketing company that we worked with over the past few years, they are finishing up their data collection for us. So once we have that, we'll be able to kind of move forward with the next step in our marketing. So that's kind of...
Question for you, Eric.
Yes.
What happened to the Station Square Park furniture that we purchased a few years ago?
So those tables and chairs are what we used on Cleveland Street when the street first closed down. And then they, through heavy use and outdoor conditions, have been damaged, and the number has slightly gone down and down and down. So
they've just worn out.
Yeah, so we do have a few in storage that we can use for events, but we are looking to get brand new stuff for Station Square Park.
Good.
Yes.
Will the long-term lighting enhancements include those of us all the way down on the 600 block?
No.
Only those two blocks.
So yes, we'd be looking to do lighting enhancements all the way down and then also in Station Square Park. So for this short-term summer installation, we're just focusing on that road closure, but long-term looking at the wider Cleveland Street and the park.
Great.
Any other questions? All right, so this is again things that we're already working on that does mirror your goals. We do have 2 recommendations that we would like to get DDB support on. Recommendation number 1, staff recommends from the goals that you previously provided us that quotes be solicited to design firms to make enhancements along the portion of the Plymouth Trail that is located within the DDB. These beautification enhancements will allow us to showcase downtown Clearwater's 0.7-mile urban stretch of the 47-mile long trail in new, innovative, unexpected, and beautiful ways. The images I provided are from the High Line in New York, which is very aspirational, but we do have
just $1 billion expense, but
yes, but we do have a urban trail, and we're not utilizing it to its full potential.
Yes.
So we think this is a really, again, we want to get the process started, get some ideas flowing, and figure out exactly what we can do to really enhance that.
Now, this is a recommendation to set aside a certain amount of money, or just a recommendation for us to support you guys setting aside a certain amount of money?
So this would be Downtown Development Board funds. And first, if you're interested in this, then we would solicit the quotes, and then we would see what it would come back at. I would think something like this might range between, $25,000 and $50,000, depending on the firm. And then you would obviously approve that we'd let you know what that budget range is, and then we would come to you to say, do you want to spend this amount of money? Where would you want to, do you want to pull it from business assistance or some other category? And then if you wanted to move forward, then the designers would come up with concepts that you would be reviewing and giving input on, and ultimately you would adopt, and we would work on the city adopting.
Okay, I have an immediate question is, let's say we hire a consultant and they come back with suggestions and hopefully a price tag. Where would, that could be a significant outlay of funds to beautify that section of the trail.
Maybe something that we could partner on with the CRA and the DDP.
Great.
Tina, go ahead.
Important.
Would the routing of the trail possibly be part of this process? For example, most of it goes down the railroad track, but there's a lot of traffic now coming downtown via the sidewalks. Anyway, I was just wondering if that could be a part of this also, because it's good to bring them down as an alternate.
I mean, what we can definitely look at doing is, especially at the point where the trail and Cleveland intersect, how do we make that more of a connection? Because right now, you know, that is an underutilized spot. There are definitely blocks. Each block is a little different, so we'll have to look at it, you know, each segment different and how we want to treat each segment. But there's definitely an opportunity to kind of push people, you know, west.
Gotcha.
There's also an opportunity to engage people with where to park. So you can easily park and then, you know, go north or south from there. So there's a lot of different ways it can go. So that's why we're just trying to get a firm involved to see, you know, how they can guide us.
Great.
I have not a directly related question, but whose jurisdiction is the Pinellas Trail under? Like, who decides where the trail is? Like, if we wanted to move it a block over, is that up to us or is that somebody else?
Right, we would not relocate the trail. We could not do that, but if we wanted to tie into it through pavement markings, through signage, encourage cyclists, et cetera, getting off the sidewalk and onto the road, right, at these tie-in points.
We can block the road and then route them, and then remove.
If you go back in time, East Avenue had two-way traffic. And Paul Bertels, who was our traffic engineer, suggesting eliminating the southbound traffic so that we could have a lane for pedestrians on the sidewalk and then bikes would be on the portion of the street that used to be a roadway.
Okay. Yeah, I just was a bit fuzzy on that. So basically we would be looking at not changing where it is, but just what beautification could be done and what wayfinding and so on could be added. Okay. Does anyone have a comment or a suggestion?
I think this is excellent work. I'm really excited about what you've done.
Yeah.
So it's going to look like that, and that's it.
We will see what the design.
We're not even going to hire anyone. We'll just say, build this.
Just do this, yes.
So will it be elevated?
Are you looking for suggestions and ideas from us, or that's up to the consultant?
I mean, we will ask the consultant for ideas, but I mean, if you have ideas, we can also, you know, incorporate that when we ask the consultant.
Okay.
They'll have a kickoff workshop with you all where they'll
Okay.
be solicited.
So for today, are you asking us just for a recommendation to issue an RFP, or are you asking for?
Yes, we'd like a consensus, you know, that you would like us to move forward with issuing an RFP.
Does anyone want to propose a motion to do this?
I do have a comment, and then I think Festus be very good at doing that for free for us. But yes, I'd like to.
You can volunteer.
The design, I meant. Just kidding. Yes, I'd like to. Propose to make a motion to go forward on this Pinellas train design concept.
Absolutely, I second that.
Okay, so proposed by Shahab, seconded by Ray. This is a recommendation to issue an RFP for beautification improvements along Pinellas Trail. Okay, is there any discussion?
I'm willing to look at it, you know.
What's that?
Willing to look at it and consider it. That's the step
With the
one.
highlights done for New York, I mean, it's just.
Traffic's there, it'll help.
This won't be elevated though, right, just so you know.
We can work on that.
Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Thank you. Okay, the second recommendation.
Recommendation number 2, staff recommends, again, from the goals that the DDB has provided us, that a new marketing grant program be created. This grant program will be for individual businesses and will award grants based on applicants' matched funding. Eligible marketing costs include social media marketing for a fixed period of time. For the development of this grant program, we will work with Keenan on guidance to develop a proper marketing assistance program. And this was recommended to have a grant program for individual businesses.
I like the idea.
That's a great idea.
Kevin volunteered. Any discussion or questions?
I personally just, we have arrived in an environment that social media, it's a far better ways of getting hold of people than an ad in a newspaper. It just doesn't get read, unfortunately. I see much older individuals in a building I live that you have a program you can actually get a newspaper, and in the building I see the much older 75 plus age group are the ones who are receiving newspapers. So we're in an environment that we've got to move in that, and that's why the market that have most of their money going in a newspaper where social media. I forget the gal's name that she had a program in here to bring in vendors. I mean, all she did was tweets and social media, and people were flocking very, very fast to bring in hundreds of people in. So that's fantastic.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it's not just because it will improve marketing, but because it incentivizes participation by local businesses and gets them involved in what we're doing, both through their own marketing, and it benefits the whole downtown. When a particular business draws people to downtown, everybody benefits from it. So I'm in favor of it. So are there any other questions or discussion?
I don't know, I just want to make a motion, let's go forward.
Would you like to make that motion?
Yes, I motion to adopt recommendation number 2 and roll forward.
Okay, and we have a second from Ray Cusano. And do we have any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. We're going forward with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm glad to see we're making some progress with our little planning session. We got some concrete results from it already. Great. Okay, so now we have a CRA update, 5.4.
Yes, this Friday, we will have updates for property owners and tenants on the 400 and 500 block of Cleveland Street in this room at 9 a.m. On the Cleveland Street closure and the enhancements that are coming, which you just heard most of them. And then at 10 a.m., we have the first quarterly CRA meeting, and we've invited different organizations to come and share what they're working on, what they'd like to collaborate on, and just as a reminder that there's a shared calendar everyone can use at downtownclearwater.com. So that first quarterly meeting will happen this Friday in this room at 10 a.m. And then last announcement is we will be posting a job position for a special events coordinator within the CRA in the next couple of weeks here. And that position, it's still unfolding exactly what it's going to do, but really be a liaison to help make sure that the special events are getting the help they need through the city process, and to program even more activity in downtown now that we are in a lessening pandemic.
Great. Awesome. Okay, and we'll move on to the chairman's report. Basically, I'd like to announce a couple of events that are happening in April. There's the CRA Open House on April 8th, Market Marie on April 9th, the Clearwater Hispanic Farmers Market on April 16th, Clearwater Arts Alliance Public Art Walk also on April 16th, Sip and Stroll also on April 16th, the Ukulele Festival on April 23rd, and the details and a full calendar of events are, of course, available at www.downtownclearwater.com. And I just had, not so much a report, but just an observation. A number of years ago, the Downtown Development Board had paid for and had erected a couple of big overhead signs on Fort Harrison, both south and north of the downtown. And those signs have gone dark and are not actually being utilized. And I was just thinking if staff could investigate the possibility of utilizing those signs. I don't know what condition they're in, if they're still working, and if there are messages that we could be using to promote the downtown. Because the DDB funded those, and the city engineering and traffic department went through some effort to get those placed there, and they're not being utilized at the moment. Right. Okay, so now, board members to be heard, beginning on my left.
I had a party at Station Square Park on March 26th, Saturday night. It was wonderful. I know you four were there. About 150 people in and out all night. We had a little three-piece band called 3 Feet Behind, and we had Stacy Francis, who Simon Cowell said was the best audition he's ever heard on the X Factor sing. And I'll tell you, anybody who was there, that my wife made my wife cry. She's that good. But my cognition was that we should promote that more for people to have events there, because it just brings people downtown that don't normally come downtown. I know you can find it if you get on the web and everything, but if we can maybe put a little sign by the park, you could rent this park for your events or something. I think we can do maybe 1 or 2 or 3 a month, and it's just a nice flow to the downtown. So I want to thank the city. It was inexpensive, and there wasn't much furniture there, but there's a lot of places to sit, believe it or not. And everybody danced, had a wonderful time, and I'd like to see more of that.
We never got your funding request.
Would that be part of the Parks and Recreation?
That's who it would be leased.
Yeah, I mean, if they promote it, the weddings could be performed there and all that.
I mean, someone from out of town may not know that it's available to rent. And of course, no alcohol, no balloons. I mean, that's great. I mean, keep it clean, make it nice, bring people downtown, you know, really, it's the thing.
It's rather interesting. Ever since I've been on this board, there has been many discussions of parking. True?
Mm-hmm. We don't need it.
Yes, but I started looking over the past several years. If I want to go somewhere and there is no parking, I am willing to walk 15, 20 minutes away to get there. If you ever go to any Bucks games, sometimes I'd rather not park where the parking, it's paid parking, we pay for it. I'd rather not park there. Getting out of there is harder. And I literally walk 15, 20 minutes to get there. So I think the attention should go off of, I mean, of course we should plan for parking. Attention should go off of it and mention it so much. Because if you want to go, you make it go right to get there. If it's a great event, it's a wonderful place, you'll go because you want to go there. So if it takes 15, 10 minutes or something, heck, a 20-minute walk, and then you'll walk. So that I think is just as a mention of that. And the other is, as Eric was mentioning about the lighting, I recall when I lived in a small town in Oregon, the way the city just became, it has become a tourist destination. We have an incredible beach over there that a bunch of wineries, just restaurants came in, was to get people to come in, was get a big Christmas tree and throw a party for the city to light that tree, to just get people there as a destination. Once we have this park going on, maybe we could do that. Now, one more reason people to come, light up a Christmas tree, and that invites families, kids, and as I think community or businesses locally would even, I guess, would be willing to pay for the expenses of that. And
The DDB Christmas tree.
yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know. As that Christmas tree lighting became bigger, then it became all the businesses along in that downtown, which was basically 4 blocks, that all started pitching in, put lights up to light up the street. And as you go through the street during holidays, it is just absolutely gorgeous. And that became the holidays, and then as it go forward, then the businesses said, well, if people come because see the lights, we do well, and it started going these huge planters on the posts, just for the warmer months. They just put these planters, and even businesses were willing to pay. So as a downtown development board, these are the things that we could actually do and enhance our environment, and it would be a reason for people to come all the way to come look at it, because it's, once you bring them, they'll come again because they'll like it. They see the excitement, and inviting kids, children, families is always best. Anyways, that's my comment.
Well, great minds think alike, because this past Christmas we had an amazing Christmas tree that the city put together, and I believe the mayor dedicated it.
Yes.
We had a countdown, and Ray was on the top of his building.
I was up by the pool station square looking right down on it.
But I agree with you. I think lighting.
Do it every year.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Wouldn't cost much to make a bigger tree.
I'd like to thank Eleanor and Sheila for this Bob the Barrel thing. It's just great, and I would like to request if there's an extra by my office. But I think it's great.
First, I want to thank the CRA as always, and to address a comment about parking, I think it's something we definitely have to look at. I mean, 15 minutes, 20 minutes from here, it's probably, I think that's Nature's Food Patch, and I challenge to try walking that every time. I think in a place like New York or bigger cities, yeah, I can walk 5 blocks, 6 blocks, no problem. But I don't think we're there yet. We expect, if you have an event at the park, I don't think people are going to park at Nature's Food Patch and walk all the way down here. I don't think they will do that. So let's not sleep on that.
Of course, and you say not to, just saying, if it's a good event, you want to get there, you will walk.
Well, that's an event. I'm talking about going to a restaurant. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I just want us to focus, not forget that also. And then also, I'm pretty pleased to see the minds coming together to improve downtown Clearwater. The great ideas coming out, that's pretty good. And also, I'm glad to see citizens like Tony coming up here discussing the chance to get involved, creating more events. We definitely appreciate that. So, and once again, thank you everyone, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. I want to say ditto on the parking, because there's some people that can't walk, that far. So I really think that continuing to focus on parking is a good thing
we'll
to
get
do.
a tuk-tuks for that.
What's that?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that, and I think that it's really exciting, all the things that are happening and that our ideas are being put into effect and being green lighted. I just am very excited about that. I am happy with all the presenters tonight and what you brought. It's great to see the expansion happening here in downtown. I want to thank the mayor for green lighting Imagine Clearwater. It's just, the buzz in the city is fantastic. So, thank you.
I just want to thank CRA for making the idea in terms of the DEI presentation happen and getting them in here to give that presentation. So thank you.
Yes.
Great. Mr. Mayor.
First, I want to thank Eleanor for the $100,000 bar, which is my dinner. But Just a couple things. First of all, we are working on additional parking wherever the board is. We have some new opportunities that we're looking at. It's not for public consumption yet, but you will hear about it probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks because we are trying to get ahead of the curve with Imagine Clearwater. I fully believe that it is going to be a huge success. The concert venue is going to require additional parking. And, you know, we do get by on parking. You can look at Jazz Holiday, which we've had up to 15,000 people a night, and we get by with what we have. So if it's the right event, I would agree with you, people find a way. But we also want to make it easy on them.
Of course.
I was reading reviews of the Capitol Theater the other day, and one of the things that was a consistent comment is there was plenty of free parking. And so it does matter to people in the long term.
Free parking.
One comment I would have about the business assistance budget, there is a lot of money still sitting there. So I think you all have to reanalyze, and probably staff has to reanalyze, how we're getting the word out that that money is available. You know, if people aren't availing themselves of something, then I think we need to re-examine why. It's a great opportunity for them. Lastly, well, not lastly, just thank you for the comments on Imagine Clearwater. It was the entire council, a lot of citizens that put a lot of work into the image itself of what we wanted to build down there. Ultimately, we make the final vote, but I just want to thank all the team and different administrations and everybody with Imagine Clearwater. And then this is going to be my final DDB meeting. I don't know if you're aware of that. Ms. Shada is going to be taking my place. So next month, Lena will be here in my place. If you ever want me back for anything, just tell me and I'll be here. But I want to thank all of you and our staff for all that they do.
Thank you.
I'm very happy the board is continuing to support the Market Marie, and I'm especially glad that their events have been so successful, and hope that continues and they continue to grow. And I need to say this about Chiang Mai. Their amazing chicken proved to me that I can't love broccoli, and I think that's amazing. So stop by and check them out sometime if you can. I'm happy to be here for at least another year, and I'll see you at the next meeting.
The talk about street lighting and the Imagine Clearwater reminded me that there was an initiative a few years ago. It's not something that we can directly do, but that maybe we can influence, which is to have some kind of spectacular lighting on the underside of the bridge, so that there's a great view from the park when the park is open. And I don't know where that sits, if that went away or if it's a no-go.
It's actually coming back again, either at the first meeting in May or the third after that for City Council to look at getting the cost estimates updated and potentially moving forward with that project.
Because I think it would be a destination in the evenings for people to come down to the park and have a great view of the bridge. I think it could look really, really attractive and be one of the must-see things when relatives come to visit or something like that.
We did move forward, though, just so you know, with Imagine Clearwater. We included the infrastructure for the ultimate lighting of the bridge. It was something that was pulled out. And just let's harken back to when some of those decisions were made. It was when COVID was kind of just starting out. And we really didn't know what the future was going to bring from a revenue standpoint. Were we going to have this enormous shortfall like 08 and 09? Or we certainly got a different result than we anticipated.
Right.
Mainly because people keep moving here and our property values continue to rise. We haven't had the challenges that we had previously.
And a great problem to have. Yeah. So anyway, that's my final comment. So at 6:54 in the evening. This meeting is adjourned.